Take two.
The history of great men that have made huge, important impact on the creation of this country, the founding fathers, the Constitution, great men like General Patton in the military, JFK, Ronald Reagan. I found out in the 81s he was two-term president. He was a good actor as a president. So I was in graduate school. Reagan was the president. And he was not only my hero from the boyhood times, but now he became my hero because of the things he did, things he said. And I quote him in one of the things that he said, "Democracy is worth dying for because it is one of the most deeply honorable form of a government that ever devised by man," unquote. So, and the other words that he said to go along with that phrase. And I started thinking, this country was founded under heaven with the grace of God, and for the people also to put in their own currency, "In God we trust." I said, this is my country. I have to stay here. So I decided to become a U.S. citizen. I had already finished some colleges, degrees and bachelor's degrees. So I applied and they accepted me. I became a U.S. citizen, and I was filled with, you know, the emotions that. And I'm not a unique in this aspect because millions came to this country before me. I'm in no way, no form unique. Your grandparents or great-grandparents also came to this country under other circumstances. In my case was to learn English, and I fell in love with the language first when I was young, growing up. Now I fall in love with the country and the people in it, particularly those in Utah where I went to college initially, and then another graduate school in California, and so forth, like we covered it. So I also learned about these great men, and one of the things that I remember JFK said was, "Don't ask what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country." And then I thought to myself, well, I did, I asked. And a voice told me, "Joseph, now you are a U.S. citizen. You've got your degrees, you've learned the language, you have a nice wife. Get out there, get a job, and start paying your taxes like every American does." And I did. I went out, got a job, a small company to start with, and they made me an associate. Woo. It was L.A. Hansen Associates, geological engineering surveys. They did a lot of field work involving geochemistry and radioactivity, resistivity measurements, and all of that. But unfortunately, in 3 months, that little company went bankrupt. Not because of me, of course. But while I was there, I looked for other jobs. You know, when your kids finish college, you're out there with the resumes, and so I went and worked for the state of Utah, the U.S. Geological Survey, collecting pH, doing water analysis in the field, collecting resistivity from water wells, and a lot of the field work. And while I was there, an acquaintance of mine, who is now a good friend of mine, told me, "Joseph, you have a pretty good job now, and you were one before that they went bankrupt. why don't you go work for the federal government? They never go bankrupt. So I started checking out, you know, you're young, full of energy, and I found out about Dugway Proving Ground. I applied and had an interview, and they took me in as an apprentice test officer. So I went there, and like any employee at the beginning, afraid. So I studied day and night. I got those things about being a test officer, systems in the Army. I had never been in the military. I had to learn a lot of the acronyms. Oh, it was an avalanche of new things to me. Anyhow, I ended up here today after 29 years. So I've been married to the Army for 29 years. And I'm very happy I've done that. Very good choice. I don't have the words to express also how happy this job has been providing for my family and providing, giving us the opportunity to do exciting work, challenging work. I have some people here that I invited as special guests. Dr. Wymaster and I have worked on NATO, some NATO projects involving the AEP-7, the STANAG 4521. And I appreciate and I thank you, Dr. Wymaster, for the joint work that we've done on that. And we finally produced a very good, it was a complete write-up of the AEP-7. And it was not me and him alone. There were all the other countries, NATO countries, providing information and rewriting, writing new chapters. So now we have a very good document that the nations and the Army can use. Colonel Kulife, I have to mention you, sir, because you did one thing I really appreciated in the old building. Remember we used to, well, I used to review capability documents, and Gil Martin is not here, is she? Okay, Gil Martin and I used to do the nuclear part. I used to do the chem bio on the revision of the capability documents. And I went to my boss at the time, the division chief, Colonel Kulife, said, look, I have an idea here. I'd like to automatize this, do everything in the computer instead of these pages here that we have to make a package with the document, the front cover, and then go through every division chief, and sometimes they're traveling, you have to wait. And sometimes the document review would be late or almost late. So I asked him, and he approved of me doing everything by computer, which is nowadays what I've been doing in the last 7, 8 years. So that was a big change that made my job easier, and I thank you. Anita, Nick, I thank you for working with me, your patience during those heck times and pressure days. And I have to say it was a good experience working with you. And I think I'm gonna miss you. I don't know. You will. Anyway, since, sir, you covered some of my projects, I have to mention, I put these pictures here. And by the way, everything I've done for the Army, I didn't do it by myself. There were a whole bunch of other people in my test teams, helping me out, contributing with their skills and knowledge to accomplish a good work. In some of these cases, I had my hands on it. Some other case, it was just coordinating their efforts. So it was not a Joe Nellis work only. So I want to mention that to make it clear, because I've never done anything by myself, including this making of this invitation. Gerald Barrington in the back there, he helped me make this. He gave me the template, and but anyhow, I'd like to mention just a few words in my final. I'm finalizing here my speech, but these pictures here at the bottom are some of the most memorable, most important test projects that I've had. The first one here is a operational test where we were measuring how long it takes. By the way, these are questions that came along with the test assigned to Doug Whipple. How long does it take to decon a tank? Is it going to take an hour, 2 hours? And still nowadays they have this question, so they need to read the results. Because we found out with guys in model, a commander can, if he has 2 men decon or 4 men decon, it's going to make a difference in time to decon it. So we found out the answers. These two first pictures. The aircraft, the AE-6 and the F-18, they are naval aircraft. So that was a safari test that Army did for the Navy, and we did a China Lake naval base in California. So I put together some of the best men in testing. I requested them, I requested the equipment to collect samples. We used simulant in this case, MES, methyl salicylate, which is the simulant for HD mustard. And we went out there, we conducted the various test trials, different scenarios, in-operation aircraft. But then there was something lacking, and I asked the Navy test officer that was working, their counterpart, my counterpart working with me, I asked him, I need 2 huge fans to blow, because I want to do a scenario or a couple of scenarios with the aircraft flying through a cloud of a vapor agent, as if in real life. And I said, can you get me 2 big fans so I can blow the air against the aircraft and spray the aircraft with simulant? He said, well, we don't have big fans here, but I have something that you can use. I said, okay, bring it on. Whatever you have, bring it on. So that in 2 days, he had a huge P-3 aircraft. You know, those with propellers? He put the aircraft here and the P-3 there, and then we had to drive our truck spraying the simulant in between. And that was wonderful. But that day I found out that anything I wanted on that base, I could just ask and they would give me. So we made some of these test trials more realistic. And it turned out great information for the Navy, because then they can, this was an agent penetration test, by the way. It's called NACIT, agent penetration, agent intrusion test. We wanted to find out how much and where the vapor agent penetrates the aircraft. And if you have seen the criteria that we use, that the Army, DA Army use, that we manage here at USANCA, there's one line there that nobody ever talks about. It's the visual acuity for pilots. If you look at, you know, milligram minute per cubic meter for each of the agents, there's one there in one column. Visual acuity. This is it. How does it affect pilots? This is one of the uses of why we have that criteria. How does that affect a pilot? Because if a pilot goes out, visual acuity, the vision is impaired because of a vapor penetrating into an aircraft, his mission is over. He will crash for sure. So we wanted to find out. The Navy went back and they fixed the places that we found out that there was some intrusion, AEC bay for the air conditioning and other areas. Anyway, a great test that we've done. Everyone was really happy with it, and that's why these are memorable to me, because I feel I did something really important. And then the other one is a DF200 foam when it first came out. And this picture is good because I like it because it was an important test that we did. So this is it. In the end, here to wind down, to finish my, I hope it was not too long, but I had to pull that out. I'm truly happy. I have been working for the Army for 29 years. I'm really fortunate that the bosses I had in the Army, and including here at USANCA, that they have entrusted me with such important projects for me to work along with the other people, guide them or help them, and as a collective group produce something very useful for the Army. And I am also very thankful that I've had the opportunity to work in an organization that has the most sophisticated weapon system, most technologically advanced systems, and I was part of, I had my hands in it. I'm really grateful for that. And I thank everybody again for coming, including my visitors. And to finalize, I asked I want to give this as a token of appreciation to my wife. And one to my lovely daughter. And a handshake to my son. So, now we're going to have a DJ Tom Moore play something for us. So DJ, hit it. Good evening, I'm Joseph. I'm going to sing a song for you by Frank Sinatra, My Way, especially for you. And now, the end is near, and so I face the final curtain. My friend, I'll say it clear, I'll state my case, which I'm certain I've lived a life this full. I travel each and every highway and more, much more than this. I did it my way. Regrets, I had a few, but then again, too few to mention. I did what I had to do, and saw it through without exception. I planned each charted course, each careful step along the byway, and more, much more than this. I did it my way. Yes, there were times, I'm sure you do, when I bit off more than I
share of losing. And now, as tears subside, I find it all so amusing to think I did all that, and may I say, not in a shy way. Oh no, not me. I did it my way. For what's a man? What has he got? If not himself, then he has not to say the things he truly feels, and not the ones upon who kneels. The record shows I took the blow and did it my way. Oh Lord, carry them. Oh no, not me. I did it my way. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your attendance. Please come forward and extend your personal congratulations to Mr. Nellis and his family, and remain for a cake and refreshments. You're all invited to a luncheon immediately following at the Office Club.
Just go around here. From left to right. Never grows up.
You take two.
I know when they took the video now, it starts with him. Then it goes to some guy who's got a big beard and everything. And then it goes to Frank Sinatra and he says, stick with the original. I love that. That was good way to close it out.
Find me lunch. Yeah, thanks. That does look good though.
You know, it's interesting you said that. I ran home to get
John loves Frank Sinatra.
He commented a very similar comment. You know, I've heard so much about Hillary Clinton. I really appreciate she wrote me a few testimonies. He said, so I made my judgment based on what I heard. He goes, never again will I judge someone based on what I heard. And it's kind of good ending.
Yeah, no, it was. I went to
campers here.
I went to when I was in Chicago one time. The guy that does professional sport, he does sonata. And it calls the show.
Oh, no.
No, I just stay out.
How much you taking per square or whatever?
I'm doing it.
You made it down here
Yeah,
too.
mine was his way.
Yeah. So where's the center commercial? Well, it starts with it's a Volkswagen commercial, and it starts with that right there. John, you talked to me today.
You're probably just a quick question.
All right, Freddie. All right.
And then you see this car skidding through obstacles really elegantly. And then it's not because his version, because the guy at the end says, stick with the original. I'd love to get a copy of that. I'm dying.
We didn't want to overload.
There's a small little.
You should see the commercial. Yeah, I know.
I went and got a new box from Cox.
Oh, if I can kiss it.
Beginning of imagination.
I think that we do 2 lines. That would be perfect.
Some people turns out they're wow, I got mad.
I think that would be sufficient. This dude, I don't do that. That's about that, right? Man, if I feel this good from now on, I'll be in heaven. I mean, I'm feeling great. Compared to the painful experience I got last weekend, it's pain. So I feel, yeah, it's medication. I mean, medication, but it's not inflammatory. It's not painful.